our roads. I don't think that we have any major roads that need repair that we've been working on for the past couple of years.
Chips.
No, I'm saying,
So why do you want to mess with the chips? Well, that's just for highway.
It's just for
That's for paving stuff. That's gonna be taking money from that. That's taking the money from the people for the safety of the roads.
no, but we have a general fund for our highway department, so when we receive an increase of 30% in CHIPS money, which is what it represents from 2023 to 2024, those funds, the 30% increase gets shifted into the general fund when we fund wages. So when we're spending money on wages, that's separate.
not a 30% increase that goes into the general.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if we have a 30% increase in the CHIPS fund, that gives us more money in our budgets to apply towards the increases in the salaries. Because
No,
we have a general fund for the highway.
that's what it's supposed to be. And then the chips are for the highway.
Of course,
Paving, and that's it.
of course, so then instead of spending town budget on paving,
You're trying to get it chips money that we don't even have. You know?
We don't. Typically, we spend the CHIPS money on feeding. We don't take it, the general fund is for not the equipment fund, not the salt and sand fund, it's not necessarily important, it's maybe for emergency repairs or chipping, but they're not interchangeable in the way I think that they're.
No, I mean, it's clearly what I'm saying is that when we get a 30% increase in our CHIPS funds, it allows us to use less money that's in our general fund, and so that we can apply them to itself.
It don't work that way.
It does work that way. So how much of our, do you know for 2023, how much of the general fund that they spent on paving projects?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't have to.
No, typically the highway superintendent would submit the CHIPS plan, which is the plan for all of the paving that's gonna be done. And then they outline what roads are going to, what the anticipated cost of that paving is gonna be. And that's the CHIPS award that we get. I don't necessarily think it was a straight 30% increase either, because in 2020, there was a 20% withholding. So we were granted X CHIPS dollars, but they withheld 20% because they were withholding 20% of all state and federal awards during COVID. But I don't think there's, we typically, unless there's a hyper specific emergency paving project that comes up in the course of the business, we can spend paving dollars at the general fund.
Well,
In that way, so you're not saving 30% of what you would spend in the general fund because you allocated that 30% increase on roads, correct?
But at the same time, I mean, there's two things going on. So for the Association of Towns Training, which is a group of all the small towns in New York State, they've made it a priority to lobby as a group, as the Association of Towns for CHIPS funds increases. So you have like a union of people that are looking to this. So we don't have outside expenditures that are going to come into play that we're going to have to use general for. I feel very confident that we can find other means within our budgets to cover what's represented in the increases. I mean, if we look at it from the previous year, we've always used the escalation of 4%, and that's what we're at the end of for this contract. We started at 3 and then went to 4. So these numbers are up 1 percentile from the previous contract. It's just that we're extending into the following 2 years at 5%, which is a hold in 2027, and 6% in 2028. So these are very typical increases in our contracts. I think that the union and our highway department has said that they'd like to work on a longer contract so that they can have job solidarity. The worst thing that we can do is lose our guys because we are not competitive with our wages. I mean, we have really wonderful highway guys that have been working with us, and to lose that momentum always costs more money. I mean, it typically costs, like almost a wage to catch somebody up to the standard of what these guys are highly operating at this time.
Yeah, but you have to have the money
Of
to
course,
raise it. So only taking it out of chips because then for the miles of the road that you guys are gonna be doing, whether you're gonna cut it down to like 2/10 per square foot per gallon for the car and chipping. So you can make the roads look like real nice, but just candy coat them, or you're gonna do it the way it's supposed to be done and everything else. Because everything gonna pass it by me, that's for sure, because I built town roads and everything else, and I know.
is there any other input?
A lot of the things that you mentioned in terms of retention of staff is really important, keeping pace with inflation and cost of living. These are reasons why I voted in favor of the contract. I think that a 2.5% increase for a 3-year period in the last contract did a disservice, which is, I think, why we see the increase coming now. They weren't able to keep pace with inflation for the last 3 years. So I'm in support of this.
I believe that we should sit down and discuss this one more time. That's what I believe.
Well, it ain't the contract, it's where you're trying to get the money from. You're saying that we're gonna get it from the chips, throw the money in it into a big basket, and then we just take what we want out of it.
No.
That just don't cut.
We have our general fund and that because
The general fund is right there. That's what they work on. The chips are for paving and that's it.
I understand, but within the general fund, if we were to have an emergency paving project that were to come up, we wouldn't have to take the money out of that to qualify for a chief's expense. So we would be covered. The only expenses that we have are on equipment, which we've been able to secure a significant amount of new equipment and upgrades for our highway department. Out of use of our ARPA funds, we purchased lifts, we've been able to get a generator in there. We're solving a lot of the troubles that the highway department has faced since the new highway garage was built and closing a lot of loops. And so I personally feel that we can make up the funds. I mean, we're already up, $18,000 from last year's budget, and we'll continue to make cuts when it comes to taking care of quality of life of our only full-time employees. It's something that I think is very important, and I think that we should support living wages within our community. I don't think that what we're looking to raise, I mean, even in the final year, is not going to be of some significant impact. And I can vow that, I on my watch, I will not raise taxes to accommodate this. I think that we just have to work smarter, and it's provisions that we're making later on in the agenda too. Like we're working towards, reorganizing and allocating funds. But we have a lot of opportunity. It's just about working smarter to find the funds and to look towards supporting, again, our only full-time employees. I think that should be priority number one.
So are we doing a budgetary transfer from the you line?
At this time, no.
So then you're not actually increasing that.
So we'll
Budgeted in that line.
work that out I guess when we go through the 2025, I'm talking about the 2025 raise, because we were able to get we were able to use the ARPA funds to pay for essentially 2 years of the youth program. So we're paid up in 2025, which was the understanding. We also applied for the Sullivan County Youth Bureau grant. So any additional funds that we received from that grant, which they opened up a new purpose for us, because so many people, including community and the town of Highland, missed out on that application. So they opened this back up for our community in Fort Point. We're going to work on budgetary transfers and the reshaping of our budget in the 2025 fiscal year. But as of right now, because of the ARPA funds allocation, we're already set up for success for 2025 to cover this increase.
Right, but you have to, there's $18,000 in the budget line for the youth, so we either have to encumber it carried over into 2025, or you have to do a budgetary transfer into a different line?
Well,
It's already, that line is already funded.
Well, at the end of 2023, there were no funds available for the remainder of what the payment that was processed
Right,
to.
and that's what we took we took
Yeah.
money from our funds to cover that. And then the remainder was for this year and next year.
Yes, correct.
On top, when we did the 2024 budget, we funded that budget line at $18,000, so there's $18,000 in you line. Which if you're not going to extend it on you, you either have to do a budgetary transfer to another line,
Yes,
which is what I was asking if you were going to be doing, or you have to encumber the funds. For the following budgetary year to be spent in the line. So it's not exceeding, you see $18,000, you've already expended the $18,000 in that line, so unless you're gonna transfer it to the highway general fund. Not covering anything behind.
so
Or budget person's not covering anything behind.
So we would do a budgetary transfer, once we find out what we're gonna get from the, Sullivan County Bureau grants, so that we can be sure that we're paid up through, 2025 to something that is amenable to the putting in after school program. And we'll talk about a budgetary transfer at that time, but again, the 2024 salaries are reflected at the end of the contract. From 2023, we're still in a holdover period, and this contract reflects that 4% increase in 2024. Exactly where we're at. Is there any further conversation?
I still believe that we should sit down one more time and talk about this. The 10% in the insurance cost, if it's only 10%, could really hurt our bottom line.
Okay,
And I believe that we
We
should
got
sit down.
to get some grants that we have our hands on, not just say we're getting grants and then don't get them and we're just. I don't know, if you don't have money, you don't spend it.
Just want to make sure that we're covered. One more time.
So I would recommend that someone make a motion to table the highway and review.
I'll make that motion.
A vote.
supervisor?
Motion by Tom.
Second,
I should do a roll call on the
Yes.
motion to table the highway contract. Councilman.
Yes.
Pat, Councilwoman Hoff,
Yeah,
Supervisor Kusama,
no,
Yes.
Councilman Tom.
Yes.
Arena. Councilperson Moore.
No,
That's a little complicated. We just have, prior contracts, MOUs had provisions providing for escalation of future benefits.
I think the original language in the previous contract was incremental not to exceed. But it didn't have an increment that was supposed to be adjusted to that contract. Revisions, so we will keep by that.
If you have that language, I would appreciate. I probably have it right here.
Great.
thank you, Sue. Okay,
Sure.
Um. We received a report from Sullivan County Division of Public Works. They have a work plan for the Swift Springs Pond Dam, which is being worked on again. We're gonna do our best to digitize this and put this online. We received a lot of questions about this, so this will be online. But if anybody wants to take a look, we'll leave it here for everybody to review. At the end of this meeting or during our break. Also at the highway contract, we received our new pickup truck at a cost of $80,000. Which was purchased as part of, it was a plan that was made by the previous board in 2023. We also have a $300,000 plow truck that's coming in June. So at the expense of $380,000 out of our general fund. Yep.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, oh, it'll be, wow, that's right, so there we go. Thankfully, the vendor for the pickup truck gave us a little bit of an extension because I would like to, I approached the branch manager at Jeff Bank. And I would like to bond these two trucks for a period of 5 years at 5% interest. I feel like it's better for our cash flow in terms of our town. I also want to get into the habit of moving on trucks and moving on from trucks when they are starting to become in disrepair. The average truck is able to garner almost all of its current value if you trade in a truck within the first 5 years. So if we start a cycle of rotating the trucks and we're bonding the trucks and we're moving the trucks on when they've kind of reached their peak performance and still able to get all the funds out, we won't be in such a disparage of putting out cash every time we want to purchase a truck. Right now, we're still driving a 2007 truck that cost us, I think, $10,000 in January for repairs.
No, that was 2013.
2013, but we still have
It's cost another 3,000 for springs.
exactly. So we're in this cycle of, you know, putting a bucket under a leaky roof when it comes to these trucks. So I would really like to bond them and think of things a little bit more cyclical, so we have more cash on hand to reinvest in our salaries, but also in our roads and in the efficiency of the highway department. So I would like to propose that we bond our new truck at $80,000 and our plow truck, which is at a cost of $300,000 for a 5-year term. We are pre-approved through Jeff Bank. We already have the terms laid out here. We can bond for 3 to 5 years, but I feel like we should take a 5-year bond and think about trading at the end of that term. Do I have a motion to bond our 2 vehicle purchases?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Sue, can you do roll call, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilman Net,
No.
Councilwoman Haas,
Yes.
Supervisor Rizzo.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, so moved. And also when we were talking about the bonding of trucks, there's no issue with the highway department receiving their own credit card for incidental purchases. There's complete oversight for the credit card. We receive the bills. You know, that I don't see that our highway department would, you know, go on any shopping sprees or do anything above board. It's just the ease of payments. If the guys can fix something and they can use a part, it prevents us from trying to get into a contract or taking it into a shop. If it's something, we have very talented mechanics within our highway department. And I'd like to give them the ease to fix trucks without, you know, going into a service station, because that's typically what we've had to do because we haven't had access to funds. So we've had to work with the means of 30-day, you know, invoicing and all the other things. So I just want to create a more easy and convenient environment for them. And it's part of the same town credit card. It's not a separate account. It would have the same $5,000 maximum. It would go in as a secondary user on my personal, or on the supervisor card that we already have in our possession. So it would just be like having another card user with the same limits. Do I have a motion to extend a credit card to the highway department?
I have a question. So who's gonna be in charge of that card or responsible for the card? With it Joe?
That would be Joe, yes.
I'm gonna follow up. What's the interest?
Whatever our standard interest is for the town with Elon, I believe do you know?
You have the bill right there.
It's in the, yeah, it's on the interest rate. Do you want to research it so we can tell the public?
What's the bottom?
Yeah, the last one.
But within our credit card usage, we will be paying off, like we typically pay off our card, we don't carry balances on our card. So once we see what is being purchased, we would immediately make payments. It's literally just for convenience for them to be able to pick up cards. It's not taking on any new debt or any of that nature.
Okay, the annual percentage for interest on purchases is 19.24%.
So we just have to be very vigilant about, looking to see what the highway is spent. Joe, if you could give us a report of like, anytime you use the expenditures, if you could just notify the town board so that we can prepare for those expenses and make sure that we can get okayed expenses that have explanations, and then we can pay off our card at the end of the month.
And receipts? Need
Well,
to,
yeah.
which you're good at anyway.
Next time, requesting basically Amazon. Online outfits. Where you can save sometimes a couple $100 and have the card, maybe, instead of 3 weeks. I don't know if you do that.
I also have that Amazon account with that number. So
Okay,
with that same credit card,
okay,
it could always be, hey, this is. Make me a photocopy
Right.
of what you want, and I could order it.
or also go into the Home Depot and get 5 bags of cement for a head wall. Or a box post, that's the only reason it's freaking me.
We also have Home Depot cards.
Okay.
Yes, but in general, I would like to provide you guys with the ease of working. So do I have a motion to extend as the second user, Joe Barnes, for a secondary credit card for incidental purchases? Do I have that?
So you got full control of that card all the time, or is the guy got? No, I'll have. Then I'll make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
All opposed?
Oh, no.
Any abstentions? So moved. Okay, 9/11.
All eyes.
No, there was one no. Okay, 9/11 Heroes Park. You want to give us a Memorial Day update?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Joe and the highway department for getting up them Veterans Heroes Band and their family man before Memorial Day. I'd like you to tell them thank you on behalf of the other. We're gonna take that, get them up. I replaced 2 flags at Hero Park, American flag and the POW flag. I'm waiting for the American flag to come in the mail for the senior center. That also needs to be changed, but we're taking care of that so that it arrives. The tree we had planted there, the pear tree. Andy Boyd's been going there every day watering that tree. I spoke to him just before the meeting, and he informed me that a couple days ago, he picked up 250 more caterpillars.
Yeah.
Off that tree. And he has some stuff around there. It's getting less every day, he said, but they stay on top of that, and we thank them for that. We appreciate that. The seniors, will be open Tuesday again. That'll be electrically for all officers. And, we'll see how that goes. I was, elected commander of the VFW Coast Guard for my 13th year. I'll be getting sworn in June by our, district commander, Alec. What else we got? I'll be getting the flags out around the park the week before Memorial Day. Our Memorial Day service will be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll have refreshments after the service. I hope you all attend to honor our fallen heroes that gave their life for our freedom. That's all I have to, Supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you for also replacing the flag on the flagpole that we donated to my.
No problem. No problem. Had it needs to be changed to care.
Tom, were you guys able to look into the solar light replacements for Heroes Park?
It's completed.
Okay,
Yeah,
excellent.
it's all done.
Great to reach out. Thank you very much. Town historian is not present, did not provide a report. Laura and Tom, building report?
Go for it.
Okay. Here's what we have. We have building maintenance for the month of April. I put a list of what we do and take care of to each one of the buildings each month, so you get an idea of the repairs that are needed. So I will continue. For the town hall emergency building, all generators were serviced by Elite Generator Service, including the town hall emergency building, community center, St. Anthony's warming center, as well as a portable generator that's stored in the town emergency building. So we're all up to date on our maintenance for our town generators. Town highway department. Cut and trimmed behind the town hall building, branches that were rubbing on the roof shingles and damaging the roof. The roof repair has not been completed yet, where that damage occurred. Courthouse. Tim and I cleaned up the court clerk's office, removing items that were there for years, are no longer needed, and rearranging the furniture under the court clerk's direction. Tim touched up the paint on the walls and windowsills. The exterminator, trying to remove and discourage snakes from entering the building. We have a big problem down in the courthouse. The snakes keep coming in through the building. The foundation has a lot of holes, and masonry needs to be repointed and closed up. We need the money to do that. So we're gonna have to somehow, somewhere, budget, try to figure out and get some funds to take care of that. There's also a roof repair that needs to be taken care of. It's not completed yet. Community center. Took another look at that roof, and that building needs a complete roof replacement. There's cracks on it. If anyone wants to see after the meeting, I have pictures of cracks that go right down the center of the shingles. Surprisingly, it's not leaking, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. But to make that repair, we're gonna hold off for now. It's about $3,600. And we'll have to take off about 4 squares of shingles and replace them. The water cooler was replaced. Tim trimmed bushes around the building and is currently cleaning up the gardens, so you'll see that in the next week or two. Town garage, town highway garage. The garage needs a transformer to run equipment. 2 pieces of equipment that are there, one's a welder and the other's a power washer. That transformer is gonna cost about $3,500. It's the verbal estimate that I received from Herman Weiss. So we'll have to look into that. If we don't replace or wire that transformer into the panel overheats. So we have to keep an eye on that. And that's been going on for a few years. But that's something that will need to be taken care of. Our fire station on 97. The fire department requested a battery backup for the overhead doors in case there was a power outage. At the last storm we had, I believe it was in March, when the power went out, they had to manually open the doors, and there was some damage that occurred. But our existing units there are not compatible to receive the battery backup, so it would require us to get 2 new units at a cost of $3,500. The cost of things are unbelievable. In Heroes Park, we did a few repairs here. The flagpole and the monument lighting was replaced and repaired. The Heroes Park sign was sanded and refinished, and once again, the 2 solar lights were replaced. We are currently getting estimates for the Eagle Observation Pavilion, for the pavilion and the ramp. So we'll get back to you on that once that's completed. I just want to give a couple of special thanks here to Scotty Greenberg, his son, as well as Pete Carlisi, for providing and installing a new VFW sign by the community center. It's a beautiful job and looks great.
That was
And
totally donated by your son, and all the work was done by the students. The height for this class.
it really stands out. It's a nice job. And a special thanks to Andy Boyer, Pete Carlisi, and Jimmy Ack for planting that survivor tree in Heroes Park. And that's all I have for this month.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Okay, next for web and technology, we have 3 quotes. Again, as in receipt of the ARPA funds. We have 3 quotes for laptops and servers, one from Chris Kelly Office System for $10,142. That's for 4 desktop standalone systems, 1 desktop server for the assessor's office and building department, and 2 laptops, 1 for the town clerk and 1 for the code and zoning clerk. We also have another bid at $12,873 from Dell. And we also received a bid with no setup and Lenovo at $11,260.37. So the least expensive bid that we received is the local bid, which is very exciting. At $10,142, they deliver, they set up, and they work with us on any questions we may have. If none of you worked with Chris before, they're a wonderful local company located in Monticello on Broadway. So I'd like to make a motion that we go with the Chris bid for our new computers, which will be paid for out of our emergency funds. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you to Lori King for doing the research and finding somebody local that we can compensate for that work. I also, Christine Martin can't be with us today. But in terms of the UDC, we received a cleanup grant for $1,140. This is a very exciting thing. So we're going to do another round of cleanup at the end of the summer. And Matt Saluso, who was our litter leader this year, is volunteered to lead that charge. They're talking about going along the riverfront, so they're going to actually be in boats cleaning up. And then he's going to use his dumpsters and trucks to gather all that garbage and clean up. So I feel really confident and I feel very happy that our community is engaged in cleaning things up. So thank you to everybody involved with that. In terms of other UDC business, the town of Highland had the largest turnout for our litter sweep. We were awarded the UDC grants. The Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreational River encourages participation in Wear Your Life Jacket to Work Day on May 17th. So you might come across Town Hall with us sitting in our life jackets as a visual public service announcement to wear your life jacket. The Delaware River Basin Commission is leading a food drive and we have one of their boxes. So if anybody would like to donate food, they are giving it to the Federation for the Homeless out of Sullivan County. So the box is there. If anybody would like to contribute, that'll be here. The Upper Delaware Council and National Park Service will be coming to the town of Highland for our June 11th meeting. They'd like some of our time. We'd like to interface with the community June meetings. So we're here together at our emergency management. In all of your packets, you should have received a draft MOU for the warming and charging station for use of the Parrot Center at St. Anthony's. This will go to the diocese for approval. We are working with the county to look for funds to build a shower to make that a more perfect storm center for extended storms. We're also working with Aileen Gunther's office for upgrades on the senior center, so stay tuned there. We should have some news in June. That's more solid, but we intend to have basically two warming charging stations on both ends of town, so one at the parish center and one at the community center. With the parish center, we can't use state funds or state grants because it is a church. So we are looking to the county, Matt and his team, these gentlemen, legislator Phillips from District 1 is here. He was very, he was wonderful to put us in touch with the full scale of grant researchers and servicers out of the county. So we're looking at the negative grant, I believe. And then we're looking at another, I guess, just discretionary funding potential from the legislature. So we're looking for about $15,000, and that would put in the shower and to buy more emergency cots and blankets so that the Uland, sort of Berryville and parts of the Eldred section would be covered by St. Anthony's Parish. And that was sort of the deal that was presented in 2020 when we moved our generator over there. That was sort of our compensation. Within our MOU, obviously there'll be cleaning, daily cleaning, we'll staff it ourselves. But, we really don't foresee there being extended storms. We've had 120 years that I've lived here in 2017. 2018? Yeah, 2018 was a hell of a year for storms. But hopefully we won't have to utilize it, but in the event that we do, we have two new bona fide storm centers. And the storms that occurred during this season, we did use town hall, but it's not recommended that you use town hall or fire stations or ambulance buildings because we like to use these as command centers so that there's clear line of communication. Even though we did hold open hours during the storms, nobody came in to utilize our services, so the storms weren't that bad, and we had pretty mild weather during that time. But we would like to, obviously put those safety protocols in place. And this MOU is a long time coming. It was supposed to be in place in 2020. There was a change in the direction of the church providing foods. And there's obviously been a change in the board leadership, so the MOU never got completed for the compensation with the generators, and now this is established that. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the MOU to submit to the diocese?
I would like to make a motion to table, so I have some comments.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I guess it's acceptable, we can table it. Yeah,
I'll second.
second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, any extensions? So moved, so we will, yeah, so we'll take a look at this for June, and hopefully get this into place so that we can present it to the archdiocese. We also are going to formally write a letter to the fire departments. So when the town sold the former highway building, there was no agreement in place with the purchaser of said building and or the business operator that they would still be able to drill, that they would be able to gather water from that location. Or that, we basically would still are depending and very reliant on that across the fire departments. Lumberland included showed up at our meeting. Rob and Jesse. Rob is the business or the property owner. Jesse is the business owner who's with us here today. So we all walked through conditions of what we would like to see. We're also separately putting an MOU in place for parking for the library, volunteers, and employees. So the town, at no cost to taxpayers or no cost to us as insurance holders, will ensure the parking lot, the back stages, the back 4 parking spots that butt up right to the end of Rob and Jesse's property right there. We're still working on the nuances of the language for those library spots, but we will encourage the individual fire departments to come up with contracts with Jesse and with Rob, the property owner, for usage in and around the highway department building. They need access to have the brook right there for water, and then they also do drills too. So you know, because they bought a town building, it doesn't entitle us to use of that property, so we just want to button everything up and make sure that everybody's insured and that those agreements are in place. So we'll continue to work on those MOUs as well.
Library. Private, why is the town?
Because we talked to our insurance broker and it was at no additional cost, so there's no.
Unless there's an incident, our insurance is covering an incident. I mean, they're private entity, they hold their own insurance, but imagine they insure their building in their front part of the lot, so they could just extend that to those spots and not pay them.
I think because I thought it was necessary for the town to insure those spots because it is the town, like. Basically, like all the shared parking here is like, you know, the library uses the town's parking, the town uses the church parking. No, this is the church parking, that's what I'm saying, we have mutual shared interest in parking costs.
Private property, which is what the library is. So
Um,
is that because then sets the precedent for another, if we're gonna be utilizing other spaces that we can insure them as well, and then we're taking on liabilities. We sold the property, it belongs to the private property owner, the library needs assistance in securing the insurance to cover those spots, that's a different conversation, but that's. I don't think the town is automatically covered because the library would be sold the property to a private owner.
So speaking to our insurance broker, he said that it would now additional cost and responsibility. We're talking about the 4 slots leading up to it. The library was concerned with taking on any other financial expenditures, and then there was like a back and forth between them. So we came in to try to solve an issue. And again, it was at no cost to our policies of the taxpayers. So I see no problem with adding those 4 slots for our volunteers. I think the library is a very wonderful addition to our town, and if we can easily ensure those spots to ensure the safety of the volunteers and employees of the Sunshine Hall Free Library, I see no issue with adding into this policy.
Be a huge issue, because we're taking on the liability of private property. So, if we're taking on the liability of ensuring patrons at a building that we have no control over, that we have no, I mean, we fund the library, so if we needed additional funds, they could have requested additional funds to cover the insurance. I think it sets a really scary precedent for the town taking insuring private property and taking on liability from private property.
I think if we're anything other than the use of our library or ensuring that our libraries are safe. But, okay, the town's library.
It's not the town, it's the Bradford Cats program. They own the building, we have no, I mean,
Aren't we additionally insuring them?
We're just additionally ensuring those.
We're not holding the policy.
Correct,
We're just listed as an additional. insurer.
correct, yeah.
And we need the insurance for the fire truck as well, to go onto that property.
we don't.
Why don't you just go someplace else?
Well, that's, because that's one of the best spots to do it. It's just one. Well, we do have to cover in case somebody gets injured while we are there, so that's why we are additionally insuring.
You don't need it while they're on private property. If they got injured fighting a fire in a place where we were not additionally insured, they'd be covered under their insurance. That's why they carry.
The Union Fire Department is additionally insured under their policy, the library.
They're going to have to develop
And
they're
this is their
they're gonna have to develop their own individual MOU.
Well, that's what we discussed.
Yeah, with them, and so we mapped out what
With
that
the
looks
owner?
like. Yeah, but this again is additionally insured to solve a problem between the library and the property owner to ensure the safety of said individuals. I see no reason to not add it. For these 4 spots,
We-
the signage.
We can't answer these questions right now. We need to get some interpretation from the insurance company to present to the board. That's what basically what it is. So that we know exactly.
These 2 are on the insurance committee, and that was covered in our.
My
meeting.
bad.
That was, so, and they were also. I know you guys had to come to the meeting.
You have to be.
You were across the street, I think, pointing at town hall when we had our insurance. But we did
Point of
walk-
order.
We did walk through, all of this in our insurance meeting and binder review. And it was determined that it was at no additional cost. You guys had both seeing that addition in there.
So if it's such a headache, go someplace else to go over it.
No, it's,
Yeah,
About that right now, we're talking about the library parking. now.
yeah,
well, you're doing it for drawing water, ain't it?
the chief,
All right, is that what it is or not?
the chief,
No, that's not what it is.
we
We're talking
requested
about
that was one of the best places for solar work.
We just want to be very clear. We're talking about water, so water usage, so individually, the Uland Fire Department, the Highland Lake Fire Department, and the Lumber Fire Department will develop their own individual MOUs for use of the property. That's a separate issue. I'm telling you that they're in development, and so that those are to be negotiated between each property. When we met with our insurance person as a binder review, I asked if it would be additionally insured, if it would be at any extended cost to the town. He said, no, that's a very simple fix because it's a sort of municipal use like a library, like a church, all those things. We're sharing parking with the church here. We have all these mutual agreements of understanding for several different parking spots. I see no problem in inferring the coverage for those 4 slots, which what used to be the town highway department property for the librarians and for volunteers at the Sunshine Hall free library. It's again at no additional cost where it's additionally insured, and it solves a little bit of, it eases the property owner and business owner's mind that we would be completely covered with municipal insurance so that there's no back and forth. So do I have a motion to proceed with an MOU for insurance coverage for Sunshine Hall library parking spots?
Just for the discussion, I had reached out to the town attorney, and after this was first brought up at the last meeting, it wasn't after the insurance meeting, it was brought up at the last meeting. With my concerns about this, and I didn't hear your position on.
Well, my question, I still require some clarification as to what those 4 spots are, how they are being utilized by the town. So if those 4 spots. If those 4 spots are not being used by the town for the town's business, then I'm not certain. Why the town would be extending insurance coverage to those lots.
The library was sort of at a standstill because they've always historically used those spots when it was the town property. And so it's come to a little bit of a head, and it was a very easy fix to additionally insure them there. And when we walked there with the insurance broker, and he said, this is no problem. You know, we're only reserving those spots and are still working on the language for the signage around the spots, so they would just be used for volunteers and for
When you say volunteers, you mean town volunteers?
and
or
volunteers
library?
for the library. Yes, but I mean, I don't know how you guys look at this, but I feel like the library is a very important facet to our community. And any way that we can help them out, this is a very simple fix and it's been additionally insured. It's not an extended cost to the town. The insurance broker through Nymark had pointed to this as a very easy situation for additionally insured and coverage because of its proximity to the town hall as well. So I was just looking for a vote to develop the MOU and present it to both the business owner and the property owner so that those 4 spots can be allotted for. Do I have that motion to develop the MOU?
today I'm not convinced.
So what would you like to see, or would you guys just like not to see this in the addition insured?
No. I'd love to see it,
But the fire department, sure.
no.
Jim, the fire department will do the fire department's own bidding. We're talking right now about the volunteers for the library. It has nothing to do with the fire departments. These are 2 separate topics. The insurance for the town would cover the volunteers and the one employee of the library. The fire department will develop their own MOUs for the 3rd time. They will develop their own MOUs and they cannot pay for the library volunteers nor the employees part.
My question is, there's no town purpose, if there's no town use, then that would be a gift to the library.
Correct. This is, yes, everybody, you can see this as a gift to the library for ease of relations between the property owner and the business owner in the library. Yes, and let's hear from the business, for sure.
And for us, we can also be free. We can have our own beautiful understanding of
That's
and I can streamline the town marketing director.
But the library actually took issue with the additionally insured, so we were trying to come in and create a scenario to keep the librarians safe and the volunteers safe. So this was just a very easy fix, but if you guys would not like to talk to you, okay.
I'm for it.
Okay, okay, so do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to additionally insure the library for usage for the employee and for the volunteers of the Sunshine Hall Free Library?
What to say?
Think it over.
I'm just not clear how that works with the insurance company, or our provider. I mean, we're talking about it, but do they have anything in writing?
Sure. So
I mean, if we could see it, it shows how.
we can table this and also extend back to the library to see if they're willing to additionally insure those spots. It was my understanding that they were not amenable to insuring those spots, but we can get all the research from the.
It shouldn't cost them any additional.
No, it hasn't, but it's been a very stalled conversation, and it's getting to the pitch point where like the librarians don't have a place to be, and also their patrons don't have a place to be. But I'm willing to go back to the table and put this before the library board and see if that was included in the policy. And as well, I'll get the exact language and literature extracted from the packet, because he did include it as part of the coverage, but I'm more than happy to get that language for everybody. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Okay. So the LoSAP benefit management is coming to question. Their both fire departments are currently using a service. Pardon? We're using VFIS currently. Their annual accrual on administrative service is $3,000 plus an annual per participant fee of $15. The ambulance service brought up Paul Cognetta is a possible at Penflex to take over our LoSAP program, because we have such a small amount of participants in our LoSAP program. We can save money. They only take a small percentage of sales. So I'm going to do some research and he's going to pass us an exact proposal, but he thinks that he can save us in the neighborhood of $2,000 a year. He thinks that working off of the percentage that we would only be responsible for about $1,000 if they were taking a percentage of participants. So we're going to extend. We're going to ask for a proposal from Pentech to replace the SIF. So we'll present that at the next meeting. Jerry, do you have anything to include or report from the Upper Delaware City Pilot?
In the interest of time, the only thing I had to sort of discuss, you picked up the award and we can have the data that's scaled down for that.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Grants, again, I submitted the Youth Bureau grant. I feel really excited about that. They made this special provision for us. They opened back up the funding sources because there was a couple individuals and organizations that missed that proposal. So they were able to acquire more federal funds, I believe, that went into the Youth Bureau. So I feel pretty confident that we're at least in the running. We got our proposal submitted on Friday and it was in receipt. The Silver Feather project is moving
Sorry, I
along.
just had something about the retransmission. Did we do that at the workshop meeting then?
No, it was sent to everybody and, Steve's determination that if we were not, if we weren't putting out any expenditures, or using town funds, that we would need permissions from the board to submit the grant application.
I believe there's also a time.
Correct. It was due on Friday and it was before our workshop.
I didn't get it, so I think that's.
It was in the email.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Well,
But I just want to make sure that we see the, about that question came up on another. Fund, and then I read that. This is your final.
Yep.
I didn't do it.
Same with the youth grant. Silver Feather update, we have our signs purchase, so in 2021. We were awarded the Silver Feather grant for the River Accesses project. We were awarded $100,000. The only part of that project that was actualized was the cul-de-sac mural. But the other 4 projects are currently in motion with the help of the highway department. They just laid new gravel and pressure run product at Eagle Observation 1. Tom spoke about the bids that we're collecting for the Eagle Observation 2 view shed and ramp. And we have some really great proposals there. All these proposals and bids are going directly, we're working directly with Sullivan 180. They're closing out their Sullivan Renaissance program. So we're really excited to actualize all these projects. So again, just for the record, it was the mural, the green space, which is at the north west portion of River Road. That was a gift from Aaron Robinson, so we're going to just build a walkway down to it. Eagle Observation 1, we are fixing the parking and adding interpretive signage there. At the Highland Access, which was a county project, we're using some of our grant funds for a bike rack and for a canoe rack. And Eagle Observation 2, again, we're talking about replacing the shed and the ramp and doing some more pressure run and product right there so that it's not flooded out all the time when people park there. And the Cape project, which was the last entity of the project, is a connector path that goes from Eagle Observation 2 to the tow path to the Roebling Bridge. So it encourages healthy lifestyle, and there'll be interpretive signs at each one of those sites, as well as at Town Hall. There'll be one on the corner of the building so that when people come into town, they can see all of our river access sites. And we feel really good about actualizing this 3 years later. And thank Sullivan 180 for sticking through it with us. And yeah, upwards and onwards. We have to have all these projects complete by October. I would like to name a subcommittee today. We are in the process of repealing our 2020 FEMA funds. We are still looking for around 14 to 17,000.
A little over 14,000.
14,000 in an appeal that we were not awarded those funds because they required additional paperwork that was having to do with the constables and extending the constable hours in 2020 for the pandemic. But a lot of this is institutional knowledge that maybe Councilperson Haas may have. So if you're amenable to it, I would like to name you the chair of the recovery, the FEMA recovery funds, along with Sue and Laura, so that we can recover that $17,000 in funds that were already awarded to the town. Would you be amenable to working with them on that project? Great, thank you. I appreciate it. So if you guys could just the time to meet, Laura's done a lot of research already, but I think she has some questions for you.
I submitted them. She's been really helpful. She submitted a bunch of information today, which is going to be really helpful. And also suggested we reach out to Doreen for backup information. Great.
I
Thank you.
had
In your
reached out
file.
to the birds, I did talk to John.
Thank you.
and John told me to put everything on a back burner.
And so is
I have the information
Great.
until we establish this.
Yeah, I think it's a good committee.
great. So if you guys could all just meet up and get that taken care of, we would like to put that money to good use. Also, I'm not sure if it was part of the packet or not, but I just read it to all of you. I would like to put a proper, request for proposals for an engineer, code consultant, and grant writer to assist us with the 10-year comprehensive plan committee. In my experience, we've been working with LaBerge, for the past 7 years. They're very, very, very expensive. We expended all of our, we expended a great deal of our grant writing, funds for 2024 on a 2023 TAP grant application in the amount of $14,000. Which is almost the entirety of our grant writing proposals. Every time that I email back and forth with LaBerge, it's around $220 that they charge us per email. It's insane. And when we went to the Association of Towns meeting, we talked to people that are from the region, and they said they are the most expensive in the business. Why are you guys working with them? They're not even a very large firm. And so I think that since we're going into our 10-year comprehensive planning committee, we can't afford LaBerge. LaBerge is way too expensive. We need to find somebody that cares about our community, that cares about our budget. If everybody could, if the board could take a look at the request for proposals, it includes what our town budget is, what our population size is, and other pertinent information, so that hopefully we find somebody that's a better fit moving forward for us. We've laid out the size of our town in square miles, population, budgets, and proximity. So I'm just trying to communicate to them, hey, we're a small community, we need your help, and we don't have lots of money. So I think what we're going to get back in terms of engineer, grant writers, and advisors, but I really hope that we get something better than what we've been serviced by LaBerge at this time. So do I have a motion to extend the request for proposal for engineer, grant writing, and consultant services?
Just a discussion, how are we going to put out our, we're going to have a meeting so that we don't leave open that meeting.
Yeah, did you?
I will do something over, but.
So.
In seven weeks, do you want them?
So through via Sullivan County Planning, they've suggested 2 job boards, and they'll hold the public just as a public notice. But it's the AFA and the NLA, which are basically like where these firms go. And Carol and Heather were both amenable to helping us post these, because basically once we develop all the 10-year comprehensive plan sessions, and I don't know if everybody saw this handout here, this very colorful handout. So this is from the SWOTing session from the first comprehensive plan. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So our first topic was short-term rentals and the housing shortage. And the community members, we had about 70 participants at the gym. And these were the topics that interested most of our community members. And so we diagrammed these. We're going to have 4 more SWOTing sessions over the course of the summer. We'll put all that information together, and then we'll get together as a committee and start to dissect the code and look for changes that need to be made. And so this next phase is very important that we find a meaningful and or less expensive option to help guide us through this process, because we need to reflect what the next 10 years and vision of our town looks like, and it can't be at the great expense that it's been. So I'm very grateful to both. We're very lucky to have both Heather Jackson and Phil Lloyd from the planning department within our community, because they're leading the charge on our comprehensive plan committee. We also have 2 new members. Candy Bott has been added to the comprehensive plan committee. Scott Halleck had to step away because of extended meetings with the school board. He feels a little overwhelmed with everything that's coming down the pipe for the school. So Candy was added, and then Matt Salusto was also added to the comprehensive plan committee. He's stepping away from the zoning board of appeals, and then there'll be a later motion to accept his resignation letter. So is there any further discussion?
Because if we're going to incur costs to put it, into an advertisement or put it in the newspaper, then we should include that in our application. So that if we're gonna do a public notice and we're gonna put out your request for proposal, that we just include that in the motion, we can expend those funds for the service.
Sure, I mean, the majority of town business, when we put out bids, like when we put our stone bid out, it wasn't part of our motion before, but. I guess we worked from the assumption that when we're looking for things and we're putting out a public notice that there will be expenses occurred, but yes, we can make that part of the motion. But again, Heather and Carol are sending on those two sites where engineers go to look for work and they're the
Will they
two.
send that information?
Yeah, definitely, yeah, and we'll provide this to them. Is there any further conversation? Okay, so do I have a motion to extend the request for proposal on the two sites that Heather and Carol have extended to us as opportunities to look for engineers, as well as publicly notice and fund the public notices in the two papers that we work with on a regular basis? Can I have that motion?
So you're gonna
Say
put
a maximum,
amount.
Pardon?
maximum amount.
What is the typical public notice cost?
The public notice has different requirements for how long in advance of the public hearing has to go, so it's whatever that. amount is.
Let's see what's the cost, because it's what we're
It
trying to.
depends on the one,
Yeah.
the
So we're gonna,
notice and how long and how many days.
Right.
The river reporter is much more expensive than them.
Okay, so maybe we extend it and just be some kind of Democrat then, and we can cap it at what? $300, does that sound reasonable? The public notice?
seems a lot. I think 100 would be enough. $100 and 50? Yeah,
See that.
yeah.
But,
'Cause, I mean, it is long.
yeah,
I would go higher. Go 250, you don't start at 250, spend 100, that's it, it would probably be more than 100.
yeah, I mean, this is a very important,
Right.
this is a very important job that we're looking to get, and so if we don't get any proposals, I really would like to go local if possible. So I think the more visibility we can get in the publications, the better, and it's savings in the long run if we get the right people
Well, the
attached.
Sullivan County, Democrat, you can get it in there twice. In 1 week. And twice in the following week. Where with the river reporter, it's
Just
just
once, yeah.
once a week, and if you if you don't meet that deadline,
Then you have to waste the phone.
yeah.
Okay, so do I have a motion to extend the request for proposal with a cap at $250 for putting the public notice out? Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Still don't have any specific business with the in park development. We'll keep everybody abreast with how our new Bureau grant goes, unless Matt has news for us right now.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Today.
Okay, sounds good. Code committee, there has been a personnel change. Colleen Hoffman was brought on to be the planning and zoning board secretary at our last meeting. And she was also hired, part-time for the code clerk position, along with Stephanie, Helen, who was working with us. Stephanie let us know right when she started that she'd taken the civil service test, and that's how we got her application. She really caught us up in a really great way when our previous clerk left for a last minute health emergency. And so we're very grateful to Stephanie for catching us up, but she did get another job within the probation department in Sullivan County. So we're very excited for her that she did receive that position. But it means that we lost a clerk. But Colleen is doing a great job, and she was amenable to taking on the position full time. So we're very excited that Colleen Hoffman is our code clerk, planning board and zoning board secretary. We're really excited about that, but in that she would like to have autonomy over her office. For those of you who don't know who Colleen Hoffman is, she's the sole employee also of the Sunshine Hall Free Library. She's the head librarian over there. You can go and say hello to her over at the library or in the clerk's office at any time. She's a wonderful, wonderful worker, and she's already done a lot to create new organizational systems within the clerk's office. But in that, we are looking to replace the locks. We've had a lot of changeover in the past 3 years with our code office. We've had 6 code enforcers, in addition to the 3 that we have on staff right now. We've had several clerks coming in and out. We've had files gone missing, and there are funds that are stored there when people come to pay for applications. So because Colleen is now solely responsible in that office, we want to give her that autonomy. We want to change the locks and also extend the cameras like we talked about in our workshop. I believe Sue is going to connect Tom with our security system so that we can get those cameras extended.
Full time, or it's the full hour.
It's a full hour. She's not a full-time employee.
Correct.
She's manning the office basically full-time. So the code office is going to be open continually.
The hours are done.
Yeah.
Hours are remaining the same as budgeted. It's not a full-time position, so that needs to be clarified.
But she's manning the office for the full extent of the hours, but she's not a full-time employee.
Thank you.
Said 8 to 2 on the sign, I was there today.
We have to take the sign down.
Uh,
We have to take the sign down. and
She's
what's
here
on
8 to
it.
1,
Yeah, she's here 8 to 1.
Monday through Friday.
Which is when the office is open. When we were working with Stephanie, there were some provisions, and she did accept the position, provisionally that we were able to operate from 9 to 2 because she had to account for childcare. So we made some concessions in order to get Stephanie on and to get somebody in the office. But now Helene is working 5 days a week, and so we'll go back to our regularly scheduled 8 to 1. The good news, we saved a lot of money in that time, and so it's a good thing, and she's doing a great job. And she's also taken it upon herself to sit for more than 10 hours with the Lumberland code clerk, just on her own volition, which is really exciting. And so she's been able to share some industry insight on how she organizes things. So we're really excited that Helene is a self-starter and she's been doing a really great job. Part of our comprehensive plan committee, we've received this letter several times. Each one of the towns around Sullivan County, I've counted 6 policies so far, have a tow policy. The average tow amount is around $200. So if you guys, if any resident were to break down in town, there's a maximum set by the towns. In most of the other towns in Sullivan County, I'm proposing a $200 max. It is a pretty heavy lift to sort of write something like this, so I just wanted to put that into public record that we are going to be including this when we do our code and zoning rewrites, that I'd like to put in a $200 max tow policy. I've received the same bill over and over, where a local tow company charged somebody over $600 to tow their vehicle. I think it was less than a mile in an extreme emergency. So I'd like to thwart that kind of behavior out of local companies and put that maximum in our future codes. Pardon? Yeah, but we don't need to discuss that now because we're gonna. Okay. So who?
I didn't give a copy of that. Wait, and she get a copy from the
Got it.
workshop.
Got it. Social services, Margie, do you have anything to add?
June.
I'm sorry.
She said she has nothing to discuss, but she will present in June.
Got it. Thank you. Insurance committee, we discussed the MOU. Personnel committee, we are going to visit at the end of the meeting, an executive session. Energy committee, Paula, do you have an update about the grants?
The paperwork for the credential for Swanson for the night survey training. And I uploaded it and I'm waiting to hear back from them about the $10,000 check.
And do you know what the $10,000 is to be expended for specifically?
Well, it has to be something energy enhanced. She didn't say it was in any way. It had to be specifically spent on one thing. And she also said that she'd like to come and address the board. I think you have someone coming in June, but she wanted to come and talk about, energy efficiency stuff and the availability of funds from night service.
Great, so maybe we could invite her to come to the July meeting if that makes sense. And so Eleanor Peck.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know too, Chris in our code office is one of 3 of the code enforcers that we contract with through Fusco. And Chris had the proper certifications for an energy smart community, so it made us eligible for this $10,000 grant from the Hudson Valley Regional Council Program Service. So it's to our benefit that he's had that additional training, which is really great. The code enforcers continue to do a really great job. They're going out to the field a lot. They've all extended their personal phone numbers to people. They've been very vigilant about, responding to calls and emails and complaints, and things are going really well in the office. So we feel really great from where we've been to where we are right now. Marion O'Neill Culture Club, Laura, do you have the Sylvan 180 update for us?
Yeah, we had a really great interview with Allie Galvin-Bleefernick. She has accepted the position to be our beautification and garden intern. So from the end of the school year through September, she'll be helping with watering, mulching, weeding, and then closer to the fall, bulb planting, garden prep for winterization, which would be a great support for Carol and the rest of the beautification committee. I wanted to also mention that the Sullivan 180 team invited us to increase our ask at no cost to the town to cover the cost of 2 signs. There was 2 quotes given. One was a little bit cheaper, but the materials probably wouldn't stand the test of time. The second quote is a little bit more expensive and has reflective qualities. Is made out of a material that'll last, the goal almost 10 years. And so with the conversation with our town highway guys, to help with in-kind labor, installing the sign. One of the signs is teetering. It's almost falling over. It's a little dangerous. So we're looking to replace them. And the planting is going to begin very soon. We are gathering materials and supplies at the guidance of Carol Sunholm, who's amazing, telling us what we need to plant where and what kind of special mulch we should get. She's been really communicative and amazing to work with. And that is the Sullivan 180 grant update.
Great, thank you, Laura. And then we're setting our next meeting for after Memorial Day for the full group to get together. We'd like to invite Carol Sunholm to join the larger Marion O'Neill Culture Club, and we'll make plans for extended beautification efforts and also extended celebrations and community gatherings. So I'm excited to get the full group together. They're the same group that assembled the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
What date is that?
We haven't said it yet. We're waiting here. We were trying to meet last month, but one of our head guys was out west on holiday. To Moset, who's one valuable member of that committee, was not around, so we wanted to hold off, so we're going to get together. Hopefully the week after Memorial Day, and we'll send more invitations to yourself. Comprehensive Planning Committee, and I think we covered the SWOT findings. The next meeting is May 29th, and the topic is open spaces and natural resources. This is a really important meeting because this is the main meeting. The June SWOT session will be for emergency services, and that includes ambulance, fire departments, and constables, which is something I know that's a very near and dear issue to all of our hearts, and it's something I've been working on in a great way with both of our federal, state, and local leaders to try to find the funds to rebuild something back to serve the community. But the open spaces and natural resources conversation inevitably flows into the emergency services conversation. So the two are very reliant on each other with climate change, with forestation and other issues that come up in our natural resources. It'll lead directly to our fire departments and our constable programs and our ambulance services. So I hope everybody can engage we are not going to get the school gymnasium, for the May meeting. But I hope that everybody can come to town hall again, it's May 29th. And at this
What
time,
time?
I'm sorry,
What time will it be?
7 p.m.
And will you put out like a press release?
We'll notice it the same way that we did, our April meeting. Moving on to the personnel committee, at this time, we're gonna break for executive session for the purposes of naming a new zoning board of appeals members. Everybody, please enjoy the refreshments brought to you by the Marion County.
Yeah.
Make a motion